What if I told you that Jesus was coming back through this gate? You might be asking.
That would have been a gate at one time?
But it's not a city gate. It's more
Here,
like a gate
stick
to
the
the
camera.
Did you know there's a gate in Jerusalem that's been sealed for nearly 500 years? And now, it's starting to move? This is no ordinary structure. It's the Eastern Gate, also known as the Golden Gate, or the Gate of Mercy. For centuries, it has stood sealed, undisturbed, and shrouded in mystery. Feared by empires, protected by stone, and watched by the faithful, it has been the subject of countless prophecies and sacred texts. And yet, in recent days, something has begun to stir. Whispers echo near its foundations. Dust slips quietly from between ancient stones. Cracks have appeared, and some claim the very earth beneath it is trembling. Could this be coincidence? Like this video to help uncover hidden details. Comment to share your insight with others watching the signs. And subscribe so you stay ahead as new evidence and developments emerge. The Eastern Gate stands embedded within the eastern wall of Jerusalem's Old City, facing directly toward the Mount of Olives and overlooking the Kidron Valley. Its position is precise, deliberate. No other gate in Jerusalem aligns so directly with the ancient route leading from the Mount of Olives into the heart of the city. This alignment alone has made it a focal point of religious attention for centuries, not as a matter of architecture, but of meaning. Known by multiple names, the Eastern Gate, the Golden Gate, and the Gate of Mercy, each title reflects a different layer of its identity. Eastern defines its orientation. Golden speaks to its perceived sacred value rather than any literal material. Gate of Mercy points to its theological role as a passage associated with divine compassion, restoration, and arrival. These names are not interchangeable decorations. They are interpretive lenses shaped by belief, expectation, and prophecy. Across the three major Abrahamic faiths, the gate carries uncommon weight. In Jewish tradition, it is believed that the Messiah will enter Jerusalem through this gate. For this reason, it is not regarded as a ruin of the past, but as a structure awaiting a future moment. In Christian belief, the gate is closely associated with Jesus' entry into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday and his promised return from the Mount of Olives, as described in the Book of Acts and the prophecies of Zechariah. In Islam, the gate's proximity to the Al-Aqsa compound and the Kidron Valley, linked to themes of judgment and resurrection, grants it profound symbolic relevance within Islamic eschatology. Beyond doctrine, the Eastern Gate functions as a threshold in the theological imagination. It is not merely a passage from outside to inside, but a boundary between eras, between promise and fulfillment, absence and return. The prophet Ezekiel described the glory of God departing the temple through the eastern direction and later returning the same way. This movement established a pattern, the east as the direction of divine transition. In the year 1541, an act took place that would alter the destiny of Jerusalem's most enigmatic gateway. Under the rule of Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, the Eastern Gate was deliberately sealed. Massive stones were fitted into its arches and bound with mortar, transforming a once functional passage into an immovable wall. No surviving imperial decree explains the decision in clear political or military terms. What remains are the consequences and the questions. Jerusalem at the time was already fortified. Its walls were strong, its gates guarded. The Eastern Gate did not face an invading army, nor did it protect a vulnerable flank. Its closure was not a necessity of war. Instead, it was an act of finality. The gate was not merely closed, it was entombed. Stone by stone, access was denied not only to travelers, but to expectation itself. Many historians note that Suleiman was deeply aware of religious prophecy. Jewish teachings held that the Messiah would enter Jerusalem from the east, passing through this very gate. Christian belief echoed the same directional significance, linking the Eastern approach to divine return. Even within Islamic tradition, the gate carried eschatological weight. To seal it was not simply to alter architecture, it was to confront belief. What followed intensified the symbolism. Directly in front of the sealed gate, a Muslim cemetery was established. This was no incidental placement. In Jewish law, priests are forbidden from passing through burial grounds due to ritual impurity. The cemetery created a permanent religious barrier, reinforcing the physical seal with a spiritual one. The gate was now blocked by stone and guarded by law. Yet here lies the profound irony. The very act intended to prevent prophetic fulfillment aligned perfectly with the prophecy itself. The book of Ezekiel records a vision in which the eastern gate remains shut because the Lord, the God of Israel, has already passed through it. The gate is closed, not in defiance of divine will, but in obedience to it. What was meant as prevention became confirmation. For centuries afterward, the seal remained untouched. Empires rose and fell. Earthquakes shook the region. Wars redrew borders, yet no authority dared reopen the gate. Its silence endured, growing heavier with time. Stay with us as we continue. Because what was sealed in silence may now be speaking again. Time passed, seasons turned, and the structure appeared immune to disturbance. Yet in recent years, subtle changes have been reported, changes so quiet they might have gone unnoticed, had they not occurred in a place defined by stillness. Eyewitnesses familiar with the gate, local worshippers, longtime residents, tour guides, and pilgrims have described the appearance of fine cracks forming across sections of the ancient stonework. These fractures are not wide or dramatic. They are narrow, delicate, almost hesitant. Yet their significance lies in where they appear. On stones that have remained intact through centuries of earthquakes, wars, and environmental exposure. The timing of these cracks has raised questions, particularly in the absence of any nearby construction or restoration activity. Alongside these cracks, observers have reported fine stone dust slipping from sealed seams. The dust appears intermittently, often without warning, and not in response to rain, wind, or visible pressure. It falls quietly, leaving faint traces near the base of the wall before being carried away. Engineers might attribute such phenomena to aging materials, yet the consistency of the reports suggests a process that is ongoing rather than incidental. More unsettling are the accounts of subtle tremors felt in the immediate vicinity of the gate. These are not violent shocks, nor are they registered as major seismic events. Instead, they are described as low, pulsing vibrations, brief, localized, and difficult to measure. Some witnesses liken the sensation to standing over something alive, as though the ground itself were responding to an unseen force. Adding to the unease are reports of low-frequency sounds emanating from within the sealed structure. These sounds are not loud. They are described as muffled groans, deep hums, or pressure-like rumbles that fade as quickly as they appear. Their source remains unidentified. No machinery operates behind the wall. No tunnels have been publicly acknowledged. The sounds, like the tremors, leave no physical trace. Reactions to these reports vary sharply. Skeptics point to erosion, temperature shifts, or natural settling as sufficient explanations. To them, the gate is simply aging. Yet others see a pattern, emerging small movements, accumulating in a place long defined by immobility. They argue that if decay were the cause, the changes would have appeared gradually over centuries. In theological reflection, Such moments are not dismissed lightly. Scripture often presents transformation as beginning invisibly before becoming undeniable. What is unseen precedes what is revealed. The eastern gate, long motionless, now shows signs minor in scale, yet profound in implication. Whether these changes are natural or something more, they mark a shift from absolute stillness to quiet disturbance. And in a structure built to remain unmoved, even the smallest movement carries weight. As reports surrounding the eastern gate began to circulate, reactions quickly divided along familiar lines. On one side stood those committed to purely material explanations. To them, the gate is an ancient structure, subject to the same forces as any other: gravity, erosion, seismic pressure, and time. Stones crack, mortar weakens, foundations shift. From this perspective, nothing extraordinary is occurring, only the slow, predictable decay of history. Yet this explanation, while orderly, leaves critical questions unanswered. Jerusalem is no stranger to earthquakes. The region has endured centuries of tremors, invasions, and environmental stress. If natural deterioration were the sole cause, why now? Why do these changes appear clustered within a short period, after centuries of apparent stability? And why at a site so precisely linked to expectation and restraint? For others, the signs carry a different weight. They do not deny physical processes, but they question timing. In Scripture, physical movement often accompanies spiritual transition. The unseen initiates the visible. Change does not announce itself with force. It begins quietly, almost imperceptibly. The whisper precedes the thunder. The Bible repeatedly illustrates this pattern. Elijah did not encounter God in wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a still, small voice. Bethlehem did not announce a king with banners, but with a manger. Jesus entered Jerusalem not on a war horse, but on a donkey. In each case, significance arrived clothed in humility, unnoticed by many, recognized only by those watching closely. Hebrews speaks of reality being formed from what is unseen. This principle reframes the discussion around the Eastern Gate. If God moves first in the invisible realm, then subtle physical signs would be consistent, not contradictory. A crack before a collapse, a tremor before a quake, a signal before a declaration. Critics argue that belief invites interpretation, that expectation manufactures meaning. Yet history suggests the opposite often occurs. The most consequential moments are rarely recognized in real time. They are dismissed, debated, or ignored until hindsight reveals their weight. Prophecy, once fulfilled, appears obvious. Before fulfillment, it appears improbable. The Eastern Gate occupies a unique position in this tension. It is not an object of casual folklore. It stands at the intersection of prophecy, geography, and restraint. It has been sealed not by neglect, but by intention. And now, after centuries of stillness, it is no longer entirely silent. Whether these signs point to natural processes or something beyond them remains a matter of interpretation.